I bring you greetings from the Mother Church of Unity on the Plaza in Kansas City. It is called the Mother Church because it is the church of our founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. I've gone to this church since my first Sunday in Kansas City, and that was 38 years ago. And we define our church in Kansas City as a place where diversity is praised and peace and harmony are the rewards. I heard your statement this morning and I loved it. Well, last Sunday, our minister, Duke Tufty's lessons, during his lesson, he had us repeat a statement, and this statement I'd like to share with you and see if you too want to consider your life according to this statement. I am happy to be alive. I am happy to be me, and I am happy to be here now. Are you willing to repeat the statement with me? I'm happy to be alive. I am happy to be me. I am happy to be here now. Well, last fall, I received an email from Mark Rose inviting me to speak at your church, and he had heard about me and about my book, The Uncrushable Rose. It is my memoir. It looks like this, and it is my memoir, and the subtitle of it is From Concentration Camp to Becoming a Free Woman. Well, my first question to him was, are you in Kansas or are you in New York? I'll be glad to come to either place. Well, you're not in New York, and this morning, Jean drove me here. So I'm going to use the statement that we just made together to tell you my story. First, yes, I am happy to be alive. My childhood, from the age of 2 to 6, was spent in 4 different Japanese concentration camps during the Second World War. I'm not talking about the internment camp in this country where the US government moved ethnic Japanese away from the coast after Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Whereas at the time of that war, my father was a diplomat sent by the Chinese government to French Indochina. Today you call it Vietnam. He was there to serve the overseas Chinese living and doing business in that country. So when Japan invaded Vietnam, the French authorities offered no resistance because France was already controlled by the Nazis, and Japan and Germany were allies. China and Japan had already been at war for 3 years when the Japanese entered Vietnam. They put us in concentration camp because they wanted to force the surrender of the rice, which was controlled by the Chinese merchants. During some of those 4 years, I experienced real hunger. We were given 1 meal a day, sometimes without a bowl or a plate to eat from, only what we could hold in our hands. I was 5 years old, and my hands were not very big. I also saw death very closely. During one of the bombings, my little playmate and I crouched down right next to one another. Suddenly, I was sprayed by a warm liquid. all over. And after the planes left, I stood up screaming. She did not. I was covered with her blood, but I did not have a scratch, and she died. During that time, my father gave me the most important lesson in my life. As I watched him plant 2 rose bushes, he told me, those 2 rose bushes are also in the concentration camp, but it makes no difference to them. Their nature is to bloom, and they will do so wherever they are planted. So we need to learn from them. And to me, you must learn to bloom wherever you are planted or transplanted. So I am definitely happy to be alive. Now, am I happy to be me? Well, that took some doing, because according to my mother, everything about me was wrong, 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 beginning with my birth. First, I was born the wrong gender. I was her firstborn, and I was not the boy she wanted. All her life, she told me I was her greatest disappointment, and she never let me forget it. Second, I was born at the wrong time. China and Japan were at war. So was Europe with the invasion of Poland by the Nazis. It was World War II, and I was such an inconvenience. She often said to me, "How inconsiderate could you be?" Third, my mother told me that I was born as ugly as a monkey. She held no hope for any man would want to marry me. Therefore, I would be destined to live the life of a spinster, a fate almost worse than death, because I would remain a useless mouth for my parents to feed. There was nothing I could do to rectify my first 2 wrongs, being a girl inconveniently born during the war. But on the 3rd wrong, I vowed that I would not become a useless mouse for my parents to feed. My only way out was a college education that would enable me to make my own living. During high school, I concentrated on being an excellent student, deserving to receive a scholarship. Thanks to the generosity of the alumni of St. Catherine College, a Catholic school in Kentucky, I received such a merit scholarship. I came to this country alone in 1958, before all of you were born, I think. At the age of 18, with $500 in my purse, and the warning of no more to come from my parents. Fast forward, 12 years later, after graduating from college, a marriage, 2 sons, and a divorce, and the desire to work on a master's degree moved me to Kansas City. Since I had no church home, my landlord invited me to visit his church. He took me to Unity Temple on the plaza. The first hymn I heard the congregation sing was Confident Living. When I heard the phrase, confident living rights every wrong, I received a flash from the light of intelligence. It's a Buddhist way of referring to our higher consciousness and our Buddha nature. You know how unity teaches us to change our thought and change our life. Confident living rights every wrong became my daily affirmation, my lifeline, and my guiding light. By choosing to live confidently, little by little, I learned to overcome my mother's judgment and negative prophecies, and deepen my understanding of my mind, heart, and soul. Isn't that all we seek? To be able to live with a peaceful mind, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful spirit. And that is where I am, and I can truly make the statement that I'm happy to be here doing what I am doing now. When I turned 70, I vowed to write the story of my life in a memoir. It took me 11 months to do it. So for the last 2 years, my husband Gene and I have traveled the world to spread my message and just to enjoy the people that we meet. My book is dedicated to the empowerment of women of all ages, all times, and all cultures. I wrote it in English, and the past Thursday, I picked up the 3rd edition, which I can dedicate an autograph to you if you wish to have one. This is why we delayed my talk until this week. It is also printed in Chinese and in Spanish, and I translated them with help. The sale of my book is allowing me to further live in gratitude and in service to others. Part of the proceeds go to build houses in El Salvador. In 2001, after 2 devastating earthquakes that hit this small country in Central America, some 10 business people in Kansas City formed a not-for-profit organization that we named Homes from the Heart. And with the contribution of Catholic Relief and other service clubs, such as the Kiwanis and the Zonta clubs, to date, we have built over 400 houses in 12 years. We here are so very blessed to be living in the comfort of these United States of America. Can you imagine what life could be if we were living in a tent with no walls next to our beds, no roof over our heads, no water to bathe, cook, or wash our clothes? Where would our self-respect be? Homes from the Heart is giving to the people we help hope and the stability to find a job, make a living, and make a life for themselves. For a girl who has survived 4 years of Japanese concentration camp and the most severe case of low self-esteem, I feel 1,000 times blessed to be in your company and sharing the lessons I've learned from my life. We can continue this conversation this afternoon as I'm doing a 2-hour workshop beginning at 1 o'clock. Right, Mark? And it's about self-esteem and getting your life together. Now can we say together that we are happy to be alive. We are happy to be alive. We are happy to be us. We are happy to be here now. In 1999, Hallmark Cards bought a sentence I wrote and spoke at Unity on the Plaza. They put it on their cards and gift items for the millennium. I reserved the right to use it myself, and the sentence was, "Time flies, but you remain the pilot." So this is the message that I leave with you. You remain the pilot of your life. I thank you for giving me your time and your attention, and I bless you, wishing you peace in every step. Thank you.